Welcome everybody to this video from Metamorphosis. We will be talking about unlocking the tools to shine with Laura La Barbera, who is a friend from Italia, and she's a quite peculiar person that we have met a few months ago and shortly, and we are talking about how we inspire people to change their lives, and also what inspires her and what makes her stronger in order to face challenges and overcome things that take her out of her comfort zone and that allows her to go on with her dream. So Laura, welcome to this space here, and I'm very happy to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here as well. It's the first time I'm doing a video like that, so I feel maybe a little bit weird and a little bit embarrassed, I would say. So apologies for that.
Well, thank you very much then for this first interview here with Metamorphosis. I'm very happy that it's your first time and that you have decided to do it with me. So thank you for that. And let me start with some questions. We have been talking just before starting the interview about what we inspire others and what we feel inside. And we have been talking that we inspire certain things and we don't feel them inside. But if you saw somebody else doing the things that you do, you will think differently than what you think of yourself. So going on with this conversation that I was finding very interesting, tell me something more about it. For example, how do you cope with this self-image, or how do you do with to overcome certain challenges that you're facing?
Yeah. So I've been told many times from people I've been working with or friends that I inspire something like confidence, strength, and they can let them think that they can make it. You know, they can make what they want to do. That I can bring out their talents and their potential. So this is sometimes the image I obviously give outside to people, but sometimes, especially when you face many changes like I've done recently, you don't see that in yourself. Like you don't realize how much you do sometimes, even in small steps on daily basis. When you face a big change, like for example, like in my case, you leave your employed job and you start a new path as a freelance, you don't realize how many things you do out of your comfort zone every single day. Like I am already out of my comfort zone, like being talking with you now, for example. So we don't sometimes realize how much we do because we are always very strong on ourselves. We always think that we are not enough. So we don't realize this great potential that we actually have. And I have to remind this every single day to myself as well. I have to sometimes slow down and listen to myself and look back as well on what I have done, you know, to see what I will be doing, to see what realistically, okay, you've done many things, you know, you wouldn't even realize 1 year ago that you would have done this jump, you know, leaving the company you've been working with and start your business and actually realize what is your dream. So I think that is the key is always to, first of all, listen to ourselves. Second of all, also enjoy what we actually are doing and enjoy the journey, I always say, and also realize the small achievement that we do every single day, because we do great achievement every single day, but sometimes we don't realize because we are always looking at the final goal that we have that maybe looks massive now. So we should sometimes stop on phase by phase and see, well, actually, you know, this is an achievement every day, every week, what I have done, and then move forward. Be present on what are you doing every single day as well, because if you are present with yourself, you actually realize. An exercise is not an exercise, but what I've started to do now is I go often to walk on the seaside, so I'm walking very, very long ways. And sometimes what I've started to do recently is to stop and look on my back. And I'm looking at my back and saying, wow, you see, you've been walking from a while. Have you realized how much further have you gone? And this is, for me, is kind of, the meaning of life. And when we are running for our goals and our achievement, whether they are personal, they are professional, we are always looking at the last goal. Okay, what we want to achieve. I want to become that. I want to do this. I want to be successful in my business. I want to have this amazing career. Okay, well, realize what you do every single day, because you do many things every single day. So realizing that is helping to give us strength as well, and also to keep faithful in a certain way in what we actually do, and be faithful on ourselves, because the strength is there, it's just there. So I don't know if I've answered to your question. This
Perfectly. You have answered perfectly. You have talked about the importance of not being so hard on ourselves, of being present, of recognizing our achievements, and it has reminded me of a tale or something that I have heard. A friend of mine has told me that talks about, in Spanish it's called El viaje a Ítaca. I suppose in English it must be the journey to Ítaca. And it talks about the thing you have been now speaking or saying. No, it means it's about that the final step or the end is not what makes the journey so exceptional, but the journey itself. It's what brings you the learnings, the challenges, the transformation of yourself, and that's really what it's meant to be. That's the important thing, not just to achieve the final thing that you have been thinking of, because maybe that final thing is not what you have thought about it. So maybe you get deceived or you get sad when you get there and things are not as you expected. But the journey is what counts. So it has reminded me that story. So thank you for sharing all
Yeah, I
this.
absolutely agree. For me, when we are talking about a journey of, let's say, transformation or development journey, people are wondering, what is a development journey? What do you mean for development path? And what is like the suggestion you can give to me? Well, I always say, enjoy the journey, enjoy the little things, enjoy what's going on around you, look at things in a different way, learn how you see things in a different way. So it's all about being there, being present and enjoying. And as you actually said, about not about the final goal, because maybe the goal you think is your goal, you actually realize on the way it's not your goal anymore. So for me, it happened like that. I had many things I would have done. I thought maybe many things I would have done, but at the end, I've ended up in a different way. And I'm happy about that, because just through the journey, I've just realized that certain things weren't mine, or those things were what I thought were right to do, but weren't right for me anymore. So it's all about enjoying and just being there. And of course, keep faithful, because you're gonna face many challenges. Obviously there are challenges, and it's there that you learn, otherwise you wouldn't. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this thing that you have said right now about doing things thinking that you have one goal and then realizing that that goal is not for you and maybe you choose something else. It has brought to my mind the thought of people wanting to change their their careers or their lives, it happened to me. For example, I studied architecture and I thought that I had that final goal to be an architect, to do certain things that I wanted, to design buildings, parks, and work designing things. And well, when I got there, nearly there, I realized that I didn't want to do that. That what I wanted to do is to learn about the design of the mind and of the people that were living in those houses, but not about the house itself. So I changed the way I saw that thing, and I had to look back, as you said before, and see all those steps that I had made in a different way, so that I could see them as steps to something else that was not my architectural career. It was myself, or my new discovery of myself. So, what would you say, talking about this, to people that have or that want to change their careers, that want to change their professional life, or they want to change their personal life in a deep way? And also, I know that you have done it too. So, how was it for you, and what can you share with all these people that may see this, or that are in that moment of their lives thinking about it, that may be doubting or having fear or distrust?
I would say, first of all, stop and listen to yourself, but really on your deep self. Yeah, it happened to me, and you made me think, like, my path was quite similar, I've been always passionate about how we work, how our mind works since I was young. I wanted to become a psychologist. And at the end, I ended up not being a psychologist. But at the end, I've ended up to do something similar, related with human behavior. And I really wanted to achieve a career in human resources, which I've done internationally, which I've done. So I've ended up to realize all my dreams in a certain way until some times of my life, which was amazing. And I will be always grateful and thankful for those experiences. But at some point, I've realized that I wanted more. I wanted something different, not more. More is not the exact word. Is like something different. Okay, I want to work with people. I want to help people, but there is something there that I can do in a different way to support people to develop in that sense. I didn't have the clear vision, to be honest with you, at that stage. I knew there was something, but I didn't know what. So my advice to people that they are facing this challenge now, they are going through changes. What I'm doing mainly, I'm just helping people to go through these kind of changes. I would say, really stop, listen to yourself, ask to yourself, but this goal is like your goal, like is the goal you really feel is what your potential, what is your mission, or is just because it's right, like the right path. It makes sense if you go in that direction because you've made it. You may have studied something. You've made the career there. Like you can go deeper. You can understand deeper of what is in it for me. So I would say just stop. And for me, it's really important to connect with yourself in a deep way because we think we know ourselves, and of course we do. But I mean, we, especially now in this life, which is always in a rushing mode, we don't have
Yeah.
the chance to really listen to ourselves all the time, and we don't have the chance to ask ourselves what I really want to do. So this would mean, for me, would be the first things to do, like stop 1 second, stop, start to understand what's going on inside you and go from there. Maybe is the right path, so you go further there. Maybe you need to change something. Maybe it will be that all what you have studied and all the career you have done obviously was needed to go further in a different direction that you didn't even expect. So you
Mm-hmm.
may do similar things, but in a different way. So doesn't really matter what you do, but what matters for me is how you do things. And the how, it comes from inside. So this is what I would say to somebody. And this is what I start to help people at the beginning to do, like really stop and have the tools to connect with your deep self and understand what you really want. The rest is coming after that. Everything will come after that. All the goals or the action naturally by listening to yourself, by having the right tools, you will make the right action for you in a natural way, for sure.
Yeah, you have said many interesting things. One of them is to give time to yourself, that I find like a key thing. If we don't listen to ourselves, we'll go there like hens without head. Here in Spain, we have that saying, to go around like hens without head. It means to go like crazy, without a purpose, without a goal, without a direction. And when we go that way, we can get lost easily. And another interesting thing I find that you have said is that at the beginning, it's like very, I would say, like uh, confusing. It's not a defined thing that you say one day you wake up and you say, I want to be a therapist, or I want to be a cooker, or I want to do, I don't know, I want to travel abroad and have a blog and whatever. You just don't know. It's like a feeling. It's like a feeling, or at least what I have felt, or my personal path is like there's a feeling that something is not right and that something is right, but you don't really get to know exactly how to manage all that stuff. So for me, it was very important to stop doing what wasn't right and letting what's right to have more space and more time in my life. But I don't know how you feel that, or how it's been for you. And as you work also with people like myself, we help people with that. What's your experience with that in yourself and in others?
Well, initially there is always a barrier to stop and listen, because I think sometimes we are afraid of, first of all, we are afraid to stop, and we are afraid to listen and understand something that we may don't like. So there are a lot of blocks at the beginning and barriers at the beginning. I had that, obviously, and I see this with people around me, which is normal, I think. But then once you understand how precious is the fact that you actually stop and you actually start to understand what's there, and you find the real treasure actually there, because there you find all your deep needs, or you find your talents, you find your real potential, you find your real emotions. So you really go deep into yourself, and from there you can move forward. But initially it's normal just to be kind of afraid, especially because we are not used to stop and have this kind of reconnection with ourselves. We are not used to. We are always, we have to do things. So this is obviously normal. For me, there are many tools that you can use. I teach meditation as well, because for me it's a wonderful tool that you can use to reconnect with yourself. It just gives you the chance to stop and be with yourself and be in silent, and experience that connection. It's not just about the activity of meditation itself, it's just a way of experience this. Once you learn how to experience this, which is through meditation, or which is through painting, or walking in the nature, or whether listen to music or compose music, whether you do any of these kind of activities that really help you to deeply connect with yourself, then you can move forward. But you need to give yourself this gift you need to give yourself this opportunity to understand what's going on. Also, maybe to appreciate and feel that you want to keep doing what you've been doing so far, but without doubts, finally. So maybe you know you do in a different way. So maybe you will face the same challenge in the same job, in the same situation in a different way, because you actually realize that that's what you want to do and you would do in a different way. So for me, it's always about the how you do things, not the what. It's the how.
Exactly. It's more about being and not so much about doing. It's more about who you are, I think. Yeah. So thank you for that one.
For me, the being is coming obviously always up before the doing. You have to be in a certain way, and then you will do things in a certain way. It's not the opposite.
Exactly.
Obviously, you have to necessary. You have to do. You have to make action, of course, but you will be driven from a different way, in different direction. So definitely, yeah, you got the point.
Yeah, we are alive, so we are doing things, but from where is that motivation coming from? It's very important.
Yeah.
So you have talked about something interesting for me. You have said that people have resistance, or we don't want to stop and listen because we're afraid of what we may find inside ourselves. That is a very common thing. So, which tools, talking about the title of this interview, which tools can you give to somebody who wants to change and is afraid of stopping? And you have talked about meditation, that it's a magnificent tool, but I don't know if you want to share any others.
Yeah, I mean, meditation for sure is one tool that is helping you to stop, help you to stop and help you to reconnect, for sure. I use mental training as well, which is quite similar to meditation. So definitely is probably more Western way to reconnect. So as well, we need to know that we are not our mind, but we can train our mind, which is different. So whether it's through meditation, because meditation is a powerful tool to train our mind, as we train our body, we train the mind as well. Mental training, the same, is going to help us a lot. And all other tools that maybe others can give you. So there are a lot of, let's say, coaching tools as well that you can use. For me, it's really powerful to do journaling. So take out what you found out inside as well. You can do journaling by writing. You can do journaling by drawing as well. I use mind mapping a lot as well. So you can take out what is going on inside, putting outside, to make the point, to see, okay, I've stopped now through meditation or through other activities, and now what's going on inside I take outside, because what I take outside, I see it, and what I see doesn't make me afraid or scared anymore, because it's just there, and I use actually what's there to make things done. So what I write down or what I draw definitely will help me somehow, will guide me somewhere, which is maybe my professional path, which is my maybe personal path, will drive me somewhere, what I take out from inside.
Yeah,
so,
that's very important what you just said, that what we are afraid to find there, what is there is already there. It's not going to appear when we look at it, but it's all there. It's already there, doing its thing. It's working, and making us take decisions and take paths that may lead us to certain ways that we may want or not want to go. But it's already doing its job. And so to look at it doesn't make it more real. It's real already. But to look at it makes it, as you have said, a tool for us to do things in a different way, to get to be aware of what we're feeling and what we want, and may lead us somewhere different from where we are. So I think this is a very important point for someone who doesn't want to stop and look, because we're afraid that if we look, we might create something new from nothing. And to know that it's all there, it's already there, and it's the first step to make it transform itself into a guide or into a more happy life or fulfillment or anything that we want to find out. Maybe it's a tip that may help people now to do that. So, and you have talked about mental training. I haven't heard of it before. I've heard about certain methods, but I didn't heard about specifically mental training. What do you mean with that, and how does it work, and how do you work with it?
I mean, mental training is a tool I use alongside coaching and meditation and other tools. It's all about knowing from a mind point of view what's going on there. So it's again linked to the fact I understand what's going on there, and I use certain tools that can be exercises, for example, to train my mind against, for example, certain anxiety things, in the sense like certain topic that maybe make me anxious, or I feel not confident to face certain situation. For example, let's say I'm afraid to lead a meeting at work, and I analyze this meeting from a different point of view. So I actually take out what scares me the most, and I train my mind to understand that, it's not that bad actually, and what I can do or I cannot do, or in the case something really bad would happen, it wouldn't be that bad because I see from a different perspective. So it's all about training our mind through exercises to see things in a different perspective.
Okay, so it's like changing the focus of your mind in a situation, or seeing it in a different way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds great. So you use meditation, you use mental training. So how do you work with people? What do you do with them? You have talked about it, but for example, to get to, if someone who's watching this interview wants to know if he or she is a person who can work with you, what would you do with them, and what issues do you treat or do you help people with?
So I work in different ways. So it is really depending on the person needs. What I usually do all the time when someone decides that maybe want to work with me, I always like to get to know the person first. So have a chat as we actually have now, obviously not recorded, but to understand the person and understand if I can really help them, because it's really depending on at what stage are they, and if I can really help them somehow. Potentially people contact me because they are facing a career change, let's say, or other type of changes, and the program that I follow with them, the length is really depending on the goals of the person. There is no strict length that we have to do. It is really depending, but normally I work with online call, let's say, so I speak with them once per week, and I give them exercise. Sometimes we start doing a personality assessment as well, which is called MBTI. I am an MBTI practitioner, which is coming from the psychological types, from Jung. So this can be the first approach that I use, just to help them to assess also the personality. So what is, in terms of personality, I'm talking about what is their more strong part, the strong behavior that they have on facing, for example, stress, for when they have to make a decision or they have to solve a problem. So we understand from that personality point of view, which is important because is the way how we behave and how we face challenge every day. And then we use different tools. Sometimes I use meditation all the time. It's really depending if the person want to use the meditation. I consider a really amazing tool. It's not necessary to use it. So it could be that the person just want to have a career mentoring program, so work just more in the career professional side and work more on the competencies, maybe map the competencies, understand their talents and understand how they can develop in that direction. If somebody is interested to have more complete, let's say, individual development program, so we'll work with all the aspects of life. We work as well with the mental training, with coaching tools, obviously with meditation as well. So it depends on what we are working at that stage, what is our focus, let's say, in that month. So 3-4 weeks, what we want to work on. And it's depending on what's going on in the life of that person. So I use different tools. For those who want to include the meditation path and learn how to meditate during the more, let's say, complete program, I give them the meditation technique. So they need to obviously be consistent to work on meditation. To have the benefits from meditation, you have to be consistent. I'm always say, if you go to the gym and you want to lose 4 kilos and you want to be fit, you have to go to the gym. I'm not saying every day, but kind of, because you have to train yourself. And, for our mind, for our emotion, is the same. We have to train ourselves with a certain discipline, and we have to be consistent and committed to do that as well. And then another things I do is just holistic meditation courses. So it's not for those people who want to do a development program or coaching program or mentoring program, but they just want to learn meditation, which is obviously a powerful tool for development as well. So I do 8 weeks program, which can be online as well, or can be face-to-face. It depends on the location. And I help them to activate, I say, the meditative function. So they learn how to meditate and how to use meditation as a healing tool, actually, just because it's a natural function that can heal our body and our mind. So they become, after 8 weeks working with me, they become, let's say, able to use meditation by themselves. They don't need a guide anymore, because I will explain them how to work with the technique and do independently. So those are the main things I work with people with. And I work online quite a lot, because the majority of people are not physically near to me. But I always work, let's say, offline, so through workshop, for example. And companies as well. I mean, there are companies that they may like to do this type of things. That I can provide that as well.
So you help people to have those tools that you say here in the interview, tools to shine. So tools to connect with themselves, like meditation or mental training. You help them in their professional skills to develop their professional career or to change their professional career. you help them also with the inner development or personal development, to know themselves and to achieve or to reach certain things that they want or that they need or that they desire, their soul is wanting to live. And you also help enterprises with, I suppose, these tools to work with teams or human resources, or to reach goals in their with their clients or anything. So you do that online and you do that offline. There where you live in Italy. Where do you live in Italy?
Yeah,
Where are
well,
you settled?
I mean, I do this where I live or whether is necessary. So at the moment I live in central Italy, so it's not necessary to be here, to work with people face to face. It can happen that you have to move, which is fine.
Yeah, no. So I suppose that if you find or an enterprise finds you, you may go there and work with them. So that's great. And how can they contact you, Laura?
They can contact me. Well, this is the worst part for me, it's just.
So that's why I've asked you.
Well, they can contact me through my website or contacting me from the contact form or through email, really, or through LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, we have those. Sorry?
I have social media profiles as well, so through my profile on social media as well.
Yeah, your website is www.lauralabarbera.com.
Yeah.
Okay, and also these data are down below the video so that you can also contact Laura. And the email, can you provide us the email just to
Yeah,
make
it's info@lauralabarbera.com.
Perfect. So now, if any of you wants to get in contact with her, you have all the data that you need. And Laura, it's been a great conversation from starting to get to know who are we and what do inspiring people, going through also this journey to Ithaca, finding that we have to enjoy the trip and also discover ourselves and stay connected. And also, if we may find that we are going in one direction, and suddenly we may discover that we want to change that. And there's a way in life to look back and see everything is useful and everything's been right. And also, there are ways to be more secure in this path. Like, for example, working with a professional like you, like me, or like many others that are there to help us train our minds, have tools to connect with ourselves, have tools to get to know how to achieve our goals and uh, make our potential shine and be the best version of ourselves instead of all that. I call it in Spanish el saboteador. That's the ego, the part of us that is always telling us you can't do it, you're scared, you're not fit for this. So just to make a final I don't know, maybe a title to this conference or to this interview, sorry, how would you define all this process, or how would you say uh, all this process in one phrase
All this
that inspires you?
Wow.
Or maybe two phrases that inspire you, that um, some maybe it may be an advice that was given to you once, or a phrase that you use to inspire yourself.
Okay, I would say let's start your self-discovery journey, not being afraid to overcome your inner resistance and to find uh, your true self or your treasure or unlock your potential. Yeah, probably, yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. It reminds me of this video in internet from Will Smith that he was saying that the best things in life are always beyond the worst fears that you have.
Yeah.
So maybe all this resistance and all these things that we do to evade or to not contact with ourselves are just keeping us from all those treasures that you have just said. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for sharing tonight with us. Thank you very much for being here for your first interview online. So I'm very proud of being the first person who has you have allowed to interview you. And thank you for sharing your experience and all the things you have learned. Thank you so much, Laura. It's been a
So much for
pleasure.
the opportunity. Thank you, Maria.
So if any of you have liked this video, you can press the button there that says subscribe to the channel. There are more interviews, inspiring interviews from people who have changed their lives. There are some in Spanish, and we will be uploading ones in English also with people like Laura. And so you can find their tools to improve your life. You can find stories like this one about Laura and her process and how she helps people that may inspire you. So you find it interesting, you can share. And you may find also more data in 3W lametamorphosis.com. That's our new website in which we will be uploading all these videos and much more stuff to help you go through this process of transformation. So you're welcome to share, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel, and it's been a pleasure to share with you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night or a good day wherever you are, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you.